let me show you what the inside looks like. So good. Hi everyone, I'm Nea and welcome back to another episode of What's for Fika. Fika is my favorite part of the day. It's a time where you can sit and drink some coffee and eat a sweet treat with either your friends, coworkers, and also sometimes your family, kind of whoever you have around you, or also yourself as well. Today we're gonna make what is called Dumlegrottor. It's kind of like a thumbprint cookie using one of my favorite Swedish candy called a Dumle. There's not really a direct translation for this word, but it's basically a chocolate covered caramel. These cookies are delicious. I use a little bit of cornmeal to add a little texture and a little chewiness. I think you're gonna really like them, and they're a super easy recipe that actually comes together in just one bowl. This is kind of all you need for this recipe. We have a little bit of butter, we have our pile of Dumle candies, we have some flour, salt, just a little bit of baking powder, or I guess it's still a teaspoon, so not that little, some sugar, and then cornmeal. As I said, it really comes together just in one bowl, and all you need for mixing utensil is just a spatula. You could also use a blender if you want, but I just find this to be the easiest. To this bowl, I'm gonna add a little bit of flour, some sugar. Baking powder isn't necessarily what I thought I would be adding to this cookie because I don't want them to rise too much, but I think it really helps because there's not a lot of other leavening agent in this. A little bit of salt. Cornmeal is definitely not necessary in this recipe, so if you don't have it, don't feel like you have to rush out and get it just for the sake of this. But I find that it adds just a little bit more chewiness to those cookies, just a little bit of corn flavor and some texture as well. But if you don't want to use cornmeal, or if you don't have it, you can just use the same amount of flour instead of the cornmeal because it weighs the same, so the ratio should be 1:1, which is nice and very convenient. I'm just gonna take my little spatula, just combine the dry ingredients. I'm making these cookies a little bit less traditional than they're normally made. You would kind of make them the same way you would make shortbread. So you're using cold butter to try to incorporate it into the flour really quickly so that not a lot of gluten develops. I kind of wanted this cookie to be just a little bit chewier and softer than the classic cookie, so that's why I'm doing it this way and using softened butter instead of cold, mixing it by hand to make it a softer dough than usual. You can see I cut the butter into cubes before adding it. It's just gonna make it a lot easier to mix it into the flour. These cookies, you can definitely make them for special occasions. I think they're really fun if you want to bring them to a friend's house, or in the summer if you want a picnic. I think this is really like an any occasion type of cookie, especially because these candies are, it's just a caramel covered in chocolate. So it's not like it's super seasonal, but what you could do if you don't have access to these candies, you could add a jam to these cookies instead, so do like a thumbprint, but you could also just get any type of caramel that's coated in chocolate. You can see it's now kind of starting to come together. It definitely would be faster if I used a handheld electric mixer, but sometimes I'm just not really in the mood to whip out a whole other appliance. It's just so easy to just do it by hand sometimes. If you prefer a cookie that's more like a shortbread, I would recommend doing it in a food processor and not mixing as much. But if you want it to be a little softer, then just keep doing what I'm doing and mix it until you have a soft dough. But I think one of my favorite things about this type of cookie is the actual assembly part. I just think it's really fun to make them in little cupcake liners rather than just plop them out on a baking sheet. I just think it looks really cute. I had the classic cookie, which is called a hallongrotta, and that is pretty much a raspberry thumbprint cookie. I had those a lot growing up, but I didn't really have this one, or this version with the Dumle candy in it before. But I feel like my grandma might have made them once or twice, or you see them at cafes sometimes. So now that the butter has coated all the flour particles, sounds very food sciencey, it's all mixed together, this is when you can add the vanilla. And I'm gonna aim for about 1 teaspoon. One ingredient that I've been seeing a lot of more recently is vanilla bean paste. I think it's my new favorite ingredient because obviously it adds those beautiful little vanilla specks to whatever it is you're making, which is really nice, especially if you're doing like a pastry cream or something cream-based. But recently I went to the store and I saw that they had ground vanilla bean. It makes a huge difference in recipes if you get the chance to get some. Okay, so this is done. can see, look at this. It's a super soft dough, kind of looks like any other cookie dough that you would make. I really like that you can see those tiny little pieces of cornmeal. It's kind of hard to see, but it also just gives the dough or the whole cookie just like a slightly more like golden color, I think. No matter what type of cookie dough or if I'm already measuring salt, I always like to taste to make sure that there's enough salt, because salt does obviously play a huge role in the outcome of your baked good. I'm just gonna add another pinch or so. And another thing I forgot to mention about the cornmeal that's really nice is it adds just a little bit of nuttiness, which I always love. Now I'm gonna get my baking sheet and I'm gonna get some cupcake liners and we're gonna start to assemble the cookies, and then they bake, and that's pretty much it. I want to take a quick coffee break with our sponsor Pronamel, the toothpaste or tandkräm that helps me enjoy fika without stressing about my teeth. I recently learned that enamel is actually the strongest substance in our body, protecting our teeth from the damages that can be caused by acids and sugary foods. Using Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength in the morning or before testing recipes helps provide 3 times stronger enamel protection, which is great, especially since fika always includes coffee and a sweet treat, and you know I love my coffee or 2 or 3. You can get Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength on Amazon, at your local retailer, or learn more on pronamel.us. For the actual baking part, it's also super easy. All you really need is little cupcake liners and a baking sheet. If you prefer to use an actual cookie tin, you can totally do that if that's easier for you than using a baking sheet. I'm gonna just add about, let's see how many we can fit on here, but the recipe makes about 18 to 20, depending on how big you make them. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools, is a little cookie dough scooper. This is, I'd say, a little bit bigger than a tablespoon, so if you don't have one of these, I would just do like a heaping tablespoon. So just take a little dough, and I like to kind of scrape it off the sides just to get like an even surface on the top. Really just plop it into the cupcake liner. It's as easy as that. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about getting your hands dirty and rolling them at all. Just make sure they're actually in the center, because otherwise they might bake a little weirdly. This whole recipe, especially the assembly part, I think is a really fun way to kind of get kids involved, a few kids around. I just think it's like see myself wanting to do this when I was a kid. Classic name, the grottor, pretty much means like a cave. Direct translation, I guess these would be called Dumle caves, which I guess kind of makes more sense than just like a thumbprint cookie, but I don't know, I just think it's kind of a funny name. It's always funny when you think about the direct translations. Like for example, one word that I was laughing at the other day, it's like toothpaste, but when you do a direct translation of it to Swedish, it's tandkräm, but really that means tooth cream, which is so funny. Which I guess paste is like no less weird, but it's just funny to think about. That was so random, but I don't know if I've ever tried to make homemade Dumle before. I've definitely tried making another really common Swedish candy called Dime, which is kind of like a Heath bar in a way, but you definitely could probably make these because it's literally just like a caramel covered in chocolate, but these are just so good. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to try. Perfect. And if there are any that are kind of too close together, you can just spread them out a little bit. But now I just have a little bit of water and I'm gonna just kind of slightly wet my fingers. I'm just gonna press down on them just very lightly. Now it's time to add the Dumle candies. I'm really lucky because there are actually a few Swedish candy stores in New York called Bon Bon if you live in New York, and if you haven't been, you have to go. It's my favorite place. They sell these. But if you don't live in New York, you can also order these on Amazon or probably on other websites. Or again, if you can't find them, you can just use something else too. Let me show you what the inside looks like. So good. And it's the perfect type of caramel candy because it's not so hard that you have a really hard time chewing it and you're gonna like break your teeth. They're not so soft that they just immediately melt. It's just like the perfect candy. Just take it and I just press down very slightly, and that way it'll kind of bake into the cookie. Sometimes it'll kind of spread out and melt over the top too, but I really like to, again, make it like a cave, like a Dumle cave, have it bake into the cookie like that. It's so funny because in Sweden you can also buy these in a lollipop form. So it's literally like an extra big one of these kind of flattened on a paper stick. I'm gonna bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for just about 12 to 15 minutes. I like to take them out when they just are turning a little bit golden brown on the top, and you can see that the caramel is nicely melted in the bottom. So let's head to the oven. The cookies just came out of the oven a little bit ago. I did let them cool just for a bit, and I did already add some flaky sea salt to a few of them, but I'm gonna add more. You can see here, it kind of depends, like my goal for these is to have each caramel in each cookie melt in like the perfect way, but that's kind of hard to do sometimes because certain ovens have different hot spots. So what ended up happening and what's happened in my other tests too is in some cookies the caramel sinks a little bit more and melts more, and then some don't melt as much. So you can see here, so this one is just a little bit under melted. You can like barely see any of the caramel, and the chocolate is still very much intact. And then this one is, I mean, it still looks really good, but you can see that the caramel has cooked a little bit more, and it's probably gonna be a little bit harder, but that's really fun. It's gonna be delicious. And then this one, which there's already some salt in there, that's like my ideal. You can see that the caramel is melted in the middle and the chocolate is also melted, but you just get a visual of kind of a little bit of everything. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of flaky sea salt on top. I can't bake something without putting flaky sea salt on the top, low-key. I think with sweets, especially something like this that has caramel and a very sugary cookie, it's really nice to have that salt and the crunchiness to kind of balance it out a little bit more and cut through that sugary sweetness. You can see here, though, that you wouldn't think that just the cupcake liner would be enough to keep them intact, like the shape, but they spread out very little. Yeah, I just think it's really nice. And I think it's also satisfying to just kind of peel it away from the cookie. And you can see the little ridges too, which I think is fun. It's nice because the top here it's like perfectly golden brown, but as you bite into it, you're gonna notice that the top layers are a little bit harder and crumblier. And then once you get to the bottom, they're a little softer and a little bit chewier. So good. Oh my God, some coffee got caught in the little caramel. That's so good. Especially with the coffee too. Such a good combination with the cornmeal and the caramel and the chocolate. It's really good. I'm gonna grab a little serving plate. I think I'm gonna get a cute little cake plate, maybe a pink one. I think that would look nice with the brown and the white. And I'm gonna see who is around for a little fika. It's about 3:30 right now, so it's perfect fika time. Anna, my fellow Swede. So these are, you're definitely familiar with these, but it's like a thumbprint cookie kind of, but with a caramel chocolate candy in it. And then we have some coffee here too, if you want some.
Oh, fun. I'd like some coffee.
Yeah.
Can I just take whatever?
Yeah, please, take any.
This looks great.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Definitely recommend the dipping in the coffee. Dipping in the coffee. Okay. These candies are one of my favorite Swedish candies. It's like, I feel like you can't go wrong with the chocolate caramel.
Oh my God.
Thanks.
Really good.
Thank you.
Can I have the rest?
Please.
Okay.
There's about like 3 dozen in the back of the kitchen.
They're really chewy on the inside and like kind of crispy on the outside. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
If you guys want this recipe for the Dumlegrottor, you can find it on food52.com. And thank you for watching another episode of What's For Fika, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.